Hey everyone, welcome back to Right Media Group Chronicles. Today we have got Nicole Rodrigues, CEO of NRPR Group, which is a boutique PR and marketing agency that's been around for almost 12 years. Nicole, exciting to have you on the show today.
I'm excited to be here.
So, your agency is a PR and marketing agency. Could you just tell us who is it that you're working with today? I mean, there were some really big names you dropped on our previous call.
Absolutely. NRPR is celebrating 12 years this year. We officially started in March, but I launched the agency in June. So we kind of have the legal start date and then what's it called? The public start date.
I think everyone's got one of those, yeah.
Yes, so just very, very excited about that. I'm really, really proud to share that Los Angeles Comic-Con, so LA Comic-Con, has actually been a client of ours for 8 of the 12 years. So they basically trusted us when we were only 4 years old, and they've been our client ever since. And we've had such a beautiful growth spurt with them. So yeah, it's just been a beautiful, beautiful relationship. LA Comic Con, we also represent Carrie International, which is a very high end, high touch luxury transportation company where a lot of the CEOs, athletes, owners, just very high-end folks trust because they can't just jump in an Uber X, right? Like this is a company that has been trusted for over 100 years. Marilyn Monroe and the Beatles used them back in the day when they were around. And so to be able to represent a company with such a beautiful legacy is really, really awesome. In this time of where everyone just thinks they can hail an Uber, that doesn't work for just everybody, right? And not everyone has their own driver. So they really take security very seriously, and then just very, precision, I would say, technology on the back end with their routes and getting people from point A to point B. It's something that not everybody gets to experience, but those who need it, very, very important. We also represent, oh my gosh, off the top of my head, EnvisionX has actually been a client of ours for 7 of the 12 years. We also have now Brickcentric, which is like the LA Comic-Con, but for Legos. So for Lego
Wow, I didn't know
lovers,
that.
yes. So Brickcentric is also a client of ours. Bricks and Minifigs, which is, there are actually about 300 bricks and minifig stores around the country, including Canada. And these are stores where you can walk in if you're a Lego enthusiast, and the stores change up every time. It's not like it's only what is fresh from Lego. It is there a retired set? Is there an old set? So they buy, sell, and trade Lego. So you could walk into Bricks and Minifigs. They have 300 different stores. You're going to find different sets in each of those
Wow. You know
stores.
what? I can hear my nephew getting all excited and like
Yeah.
screaming in the other room already.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, for this world that we live in that's very hyper connected digitally, you have a lot of parents and even a lot of adults who are like, listen, I don't want to be on a screen all day. I want to be physically building something with my hands. I want to be using my mind and imagination. And I just think Bricks and Minifigs, they've had a massive growth spurt. You would think that, again, in this hyper digital world that we live in, that are people really going into stores? Yes, they crave community, and Bricks and Minifigs is giving them that. So it's such an honor to work with them. Also, a company called Tepe Naturals. We also work with Positive Beverage, all very clean, organic products. So Positive Beverage is like the cleanest energy drink and sparkling water that you could drink, like literally no bad stuff. And then with Tepe Naturals, they use coffee silver skin, which is like an extract that comes from the coffee bean that normally is just thrown away. But that caffeine and all the nutrients you can see in my skin, I'm also a user
Oh, wow.
of the Tepe
Okay. I was
Naturals.
wondering
But
why it's shining so much. Okay, no, that makes
yes, they have
sense.
an incredible serum that I just now live by, because I used to not be able to have anything that had vitamin C in it. Their serum has vitamin C, but because it doesn't have any of the garbage, I have no bad outbreaks, no rash, no nothing. And with other companies I did. And then finally, I mean, God, we have so many, but I don't want to keep talking just
So
about
many
that.
wonderful
So
people,
many wonderful
businesses
clients
that
that
you've
we just
worked
love.
with.
But also F-Secure, they are, headquartered in Finland, but we are so blessed that they have been wanting to make some noise in the US with the US market, and we have been able to do that for them, and it's just so beautiful. We have a lot of clients that are in other countries, headquartered in other countries, but have and want a presence in the US, and we are one of the go-tos for companies that want to do that and break out into the United States. So we have clients in India, Finland, Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. So yeah, just very, very blessed. And, being a boutique agency, the nice thing is we work in cycles with a lot of these companies so that they don't have to feel beholden to a full 12-month contract, even though many of them do have a full 12 months. But we've remained flexible so that we can keep really amazing clients on our roster and help them in the times that they truly need it.
Yeah, Nicole, thank you for that in-depth explanation. Previously, when we spoke, you said it's very important for the company values to align with your values. So I sort of want to dive into that a bit more.
Yeah.
In this industry, it's extremely rare. Did you have this from the beginning where you're like, I'll only work with these values? These are my core values that I want to have with any business I work with.
That's right. Yes, from day one, I wanted to make sure that my core values as a human being were aligned with any client or brand that we worked with. And the reason for that is, there are thousands, millions of companies that will all need PR. And just like with humans, you're not going to vibe with every single human. You need to find the humans who are your vibe. And I really, from day one, wanted to create a culture in my community and my company where around us was all good, positivity. There is such a thing as bad money, I tell people. There's
Hmm.
such a thing as bad money
Interesting
where
perspective.
you are welcoming in money that has either a negative, I would say, like impact
Mhm.
on people, on the community, or let's say the leadership is really negative or very difficult. You're welcoming that energy within the money that you're putting in your company's bank account. And I always said, you know what? That's not what I want to build a foundation off of. We have long lives to live here, right? And I'm just very picky with the money and the energy that comes in so that our team members who've been with us, so many of them have been with us since day one. Why? Because we are very protective of the energy that we bring into the company, the vibes. Is it positive? Do we feel like we're doing good when we're doing PR for these companies, and there are other PR agencies that are like, what do you mean? They're going to write me a check. I'll just take it. Fine.
Yes, that's what I meant with extremely
No.
rare.
Yeah, no. And I also did that because I was told that it wouldn't be possible. Well, what do you mean? You're not going to be able to build a you need to make as much money as possible. And I'm like, no, on the contrary, the good money is going to come when they can feel the good energy from my team, feel the good energy from me, feel the good energy to the press, feel those vibes. And that's what we have attracted, that I haven't had to just suffer and push down my own values and just to take a check.
It's controversial in a way,
Sure.
Nicole, isn't it? When you start a business and you're like, obviously, you want clients, you want this business to be sustainable. And then suddenly you're saying no to businesses that don't align with your values. It's a difficult position to be in.
Mhm. Yes, and I think that where it becomes difficult really is when people are into the I need more, I need more, I
Mm.
need more. Sometimes less is more.
Wow.
And
I'm getting goosebumps here.
I have never been one who's been afraid to struggle, right? Now, if this client over here that's going to be a pain in the you know what and possibly has something in, and I'll give you a good example. I'm a dog lover. I'm a dog mama and I love my dogs. There was a company, and I won't name the name, that came to us. It was a Bluetooth collar that the dogs were supposed to wear day in and day out so that parents could you know, track them and whatever, but it was supposed to be worn on their neck.
Mhm.
And I went to the CEO and I said, "Okay, well, I'm a dog lover. This could be, an aligned, product. May I ask, um, because they do have studies out there where the Bluetooth in our phones, we're not supposed to keep Bluetooth near our heads as humans, right? So, hey, have you tested this on dogs for long periods of time to make sure that the amount of radiation is safe?" And he looks at me like I was insane. "We haven't tested this on any dogs. We just know that the Bluetooth technology works." And I was like, yeah, this is a hard pass. This is a hard pass for me because I already know the magic I can bring to your company. I know I can get people excited to buy and use it. However, if my hands touch media that are going to help you get this on dogs and a dog is harmed from this, that's on my hands. I politely passed. And this was when we were early days and the money would have been so helpful. It would have
Mm.
been great. And I said, no. And of course, there was another PR agency that took it on and hey, fine. Your values are different than mine. No, no problem. We were blessed not even a month later with another client, double that retainer.
Nicole, I truly believe it's bound to come back to you in a positive way. So
Yeah.
it's like when you help your community out, which in a way you are because you only promote businesses with good values. It's the same like returning back to your community.
Yes.
It's a chain reaction.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's why too, for 12 years, though we've had our ups and downs, I am happy with my team. I am happy with my clients. I am happy with what we've brought to the world. And you don't meet a lot of owners that get to say that. And to me, that sometimes is worth its weight in gold, if you will.
So you were in PR when at the Oakland Raiders,
Yeah.
there was this Twitter thing that was still relatively new. And you told me the story before, and they asked, "Should we do this Twitter thing?" So I'm sort of wondering that journey. Did anyone know what they were doing at that time with Twitter?
No. No, it was so fun. It's funny also, shout out to my boyfriend. That's actually where we met. We were both interns
Wow,
at the
love
Raiders,
that. That's
and
beautiful.
there was a big group of interns, right? They had interns every year, and not everyone would get hired. Thankfully, Daniel and I did go off to get hired, and it's awesome, right? And so we just consider the Raiders our family, but there's just so many funny stories that like we're all around scratching our head like, I don't even know what Twitter is. And I remember we had a couple of sort of bosses that would oversee us, some on the web department and then obviously in PR and community. And they're like, "Hey, so we just had this meeting. Like, should we jump on this Twitter thing? But like if we get Twitter, like what do we say?" And so we're all just like, I don't know. Do any of us even have a Twitter? Okay, well, I better get a Twitter. Like I better get this thing. And
I better
and
figure it
we were
out.
just yeah, and then it was like, okay, maybe we just at first it was like we just use it for stats. Okay, well, we share with the community in stats and oh, well, it should be in Spanish. We should also have you know, using Twitter for Spanish speaking, because we also were that was when we went to Raiders in Espanol. We ended up having like, okay, our regular website, and it was such a big deal to have a website that was fully translated in Spanish. And so there were just so many cool things that were happening technologically with the Raiders back in the day, and to be, I don't know, just kind of like inside all of that, where even sometimes like a big NFL team, we've got to figure stuff out too as it comes along. That's when like of course having a website was a big deal, but then it was like social media. Well, which should we be on this thing? Like, we're not going to go on MySpace. There was, they weren't getting on MySpace because they were like, well, how are we going to use it? But should we get on this Twitter? And so I just remember, those kind of early fun conversations about like, well, who's going to figure this out? Well, who's going to manage it? Who's going to say stuff? And if we say stuff, what do we say?
Yeah.
And, of course,
But
the
you know
early
what,
days
Nicole?
was like stats.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just stats, it's data you gotta collect. You gotta test
Yeah,
around as with anything in marketing.
that's right.
Like
That's right.
you constantly need to reinvent and adjust yourself to these new things that come out, like the internet. Imagine businesses that didn't take on that trend.
Yeah.
Where are
Oh
we
my
now?
god. Not just that, I remember so I started PR in 1999 when the even email was still getting itself figured out. I remember having to fax press releases to Business Wire, like, here is the final press release. They would upload it. This was before, you could just push it up into a portal or email it. It was such a big deal that, like, no, you had to fax it over. And not just that, but like companies would all out do announcements about, we've updated our website. Could you imagine if companies were writing press releases about like, check out our new website? No,
No.
if you update your website, it's just a given. It's now what you just do. But this is before technology and all the things that we just use on a day to day and regular basis, from email, figuring out like email infrastructure. Well, what's my email address going to be? Is it going to be Nicole at this, or all of these little things that now we absolutely take for granted because it's part of our day to day. But I feel so grateful to have been able to see that. And I think it just lends for a deeper appreciation of all the tools that we now have at our disposal.
I love that you said that because I mean, with the fax machine, one of the previous places I work at, I saw one. I was like, "What is that thing?" And they were like, "That's a fax machine." And we actually did use one of them to send like emails and proposals and whatnot. And I was like, "What? Really? How would you even do that?" Like, I just couldn't correlate.
One page at a time.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
My phone now has a fax thing on it. I can just scan it with my phone. And it's like, oh, this is the new way to fax. But no, a full on fax machine and one page after another.
You
Yeah.
know what? With all these adjustments we have had, every market has become saturated. If you think of like email, it was good, like when it was early days with it. Now it's just oversaturated. We're all getting bombarded. So it's like, how do you stand out in this environment when everyone's getting pitched to and sold to?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, the main thing is understanding the work habits of the recipient or the person that you're
Mm.
sending something to. And this is what I tell people. LinkedIn is great for B2B or whatever, but I absolutely ignore my DMs because I know I am just being flooded with things that don't pertain to me, that are done by bots, that no one is really thinking through. And it's just like, no.
It's
Now,
so
when it comes to
inauthentic.
absolutely inauthentic, that a lot of these sales folks are just like, oh, her background matches a profile. Have this AI write an email and send it to her. All you're doing is sending me more spam and making me not like you. Like that's really it. And I think that people in PR also need to understand the same thing, that just because you could do it faster doesn't make it better. So for me, I really do teach my team, take your time. I would much rather you write 20 thoughtful emails to a reporter that looks at email, right? There are ways to look in the background where, there's some reporters that are like, there are now some apps where it's like a little chat app. I want to say, you know what? I'm going to look on my phone. There are some journalists that now Signal. Hey, send me a quick thing on Signal, or shoot me a quick email that is no more than X amount of sentences. I would even call that out. Hey, I know you prefer to be reached out on Signal. Here's 2 sentences. Can I send you a longer email? Does this sound interesting? And then they'll be like, yeah, here's my email address. Send me more. Great. Then they know that the email is coming from me. So that's how you stand out. Not, I could build bigger lists and get more spam out to more people. That is not PR. Like, again, just because you can send more doesn't make it better. In fact, again, less is more in a lot of these situations where, I can have okay, there's about 100 reporters that are going to cover security, right? Thinking about F Secure. Yeah, but let's cherry pick 10 of those that are like, absolutely, they're either covering a competitor or brought up a good point that we wanted to make. If you could write a thoughtful email to that reporter that, one, highlights that I pay attention to your work, two, makes it optional, like, hey, you know what, I'd like for you to get to know my client, but also I want my client to be a resource for you. And here are some things that they could probably talk about if this works for your next story. You do that, and then you have friends that literally you could text. I tell people, I'm like, what do you mean? I've been doing this 26 years. I can text most reporters and just be like, hey, I'm sending you an email. And they're like, oh, cool, it's coming from Nicole. I know it's not going to suck.
Yeah.
That's how you do PR well.
No, that's a great example. It's sort of that referral base where one of my other guests, Andrew Ballard, clarified. He actually meets up quarterly with his referral system where he's just going out for a coffee, just catch them how they are doing. Every once in a while, he sees something and he's thinking of that person and he just sends it to them. Thought of you when I saw this.
And I think people are, again, we humans are wired for connection. We are, for as many people are like, oh, I love my recharging time when I'm by myself and I can just whatever. We are wired for community. This is how humans were built. This is why the world is what it is, right? We now are in a time where technology is masking itself as efficiency. It's masking itself as more and better. And why is it going to be so easy for AI to take our jobs? Because we're handing it over if we don't focus on community and human connection. And that is why it was like the best PR people are going to be the PR people who make connection happen, who make human interaction happen, who talk to humans like they're humans. I don't need a list of 500 journalists that I'm going to blindly blast. That's going to make them hate me as a human.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
it's
I
a
love
it's a
it.
no-go for me. Yeah.
There's so much more skill to what you just explained, and you need to learn it and probably learn it the hard way. How you build a connection with somebody, like having that skill is so much more efficient than learning how to blast a list of 500,
Totally.
people.
Totally. And people are, sometimes can be inherently lazy. What do you mean I have to do this? And I'm like, okay, well, the lazier that you get with making connections, no one's going to know you by name. You can talk to some journalists. Oh, yeah, Nicole Rodrigues. Oh, yeah, NRPR. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. If they don't know you by name and they don't trust you, then you as a PR person, even sales, a salesperson,
Oh, you hit a point
come
there.
on. People aren't going to know you. So then therefore they're not going to feel like they owe you anything, you know?
Cole, you mentioned that you have been in the game for about 26
6
years.
years. Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is, how did you move from obviously corporate, because you were with some really big companies too?
Yeah.
Let me have my own agency. What was that transition, that journey like?
Yeah, well, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So just, scrappy business owners. My mom owned a daycare while I was growing up. My grandmother owned her own daycare. So it was like watching them be entrepreneurs as women. I looked up to that. Now you guys are calling your own shots, making your own prices, making it happen. So my mom and my mom's mom, very entrepreneurial. And so I knew in my gut that at some point I was going to start a company. I just knew I wanted to fully understand my trade before I went off and did it, because then otherwise you're risking, like, people don't know me. How do they trust me? So I think I was about 14 years into my career and I worked for a really great agency, and I had worked with some huge brands. I learned from my own mistakes. I learned from my boss's mistakes. I learned how to manage budgets, manage clients, develop strategies. I was always really good at strategy. I like chess and checkers, right? Like chess, checkers, backgammon, played those games as a kid. And I was always good at thinking about 5 steps up and then working backwards and saying, well, if this is the goal, here's how we work back. So that I knew I had, but I needed to understand the financials. I needed to understand then how to build a business, not just do PR, but how do you actually build a business? And that comes with legal infrastructure, financial infrastructure, not just doing my trade. I had to understand HR, all of the things that you don't have to know if you have a job, right? I was like, well, I have to understand all of these things to go off on my own. And then finally, I was vice president of digital entertainment at a really great PR firm where YouTube and Hulu and MGO and Toon Hero, DC Comics, like these were our clients, and I was able to either develop strategy or help with strategy for all of these companies. And when I was seeing the decision makers, the CEOs agree with all of my strategies, I'm like, did Hulu just agree to do what I just said? Like,
Was
this is
that when you had
amazing.
your own business? Just to understand, was that when
Yeah,
you had your own business and then you were sort of doing proposals? Or
I
that
was
was,
working for someone else.
yeah,
And
yeah, I get
then
it.
one of the owners of that firm, I remember he came and sat in my office and we were just talking about like my future and what I wanted to do. And he looked at me and he's like, there comes a point in time when you just know that you're ready. And I knew when I was ready. He's like, basically it was very cool. He was like a dad and a mentor to me. And he's like, you can stay here and go from president to vice or go from vice president to president of your division, because there were multiple divisions. It was digital entertainment, home entertainment, gaming. He's like, or you'll just know when you're ready. And it was such a beautiful thing because I think he knew in that moment eventually they were going to be selling the agency, which they did. They ended up selling the agency.
Yeah, I see, I see. So he
And
sort of like, yeah, I see.
he gave me that bump of confidence and I really went home and I was like, if he thinks I'm ready, that was like a
Yeah.
pat on the back. And so he knew I would never run off and take any clients. Like that was just never my thing.
It's because of your values, Nicole. Like just by speaking with you, I'm like, you would never do that.
No,
Then this is what business can see too.
yeah. And so that was his thing. He's like, Nicole's not going to poach any of our clients, but I do have a daughter. And it was tough because she wanted to go to school up in Northern California while I was building my career, got an offer to move to Southern California. So it was like her dad was watching her Monday through Thursday, and then I was with her Thursday night through Sunday. And that was hard for me as a mom, but I knew like, okay, making a short-term decision to basically build over here was going to get her. I knew she wanted to get into entertainment. Now, my daughter works at Access Hollywood now. She works at
Wow.
NBC. Had I not made the decision to move to LA, grow my network, my daughter wouldn't have seen it's possible. She went to NYU, which is an incredible school, now works at Access Hollywood. None of that would have been possible if I did not move and take that transition period. But my boss basically knew you'll have more flexibility if you have your own company so that you can make sure that you're there in those times that your daughter really, really needs you. And it was the perfect timing. When she went into high school, I was like, great, I'll start my agency and I still get to, you know, basically, I get to call my own shots now. I can
Mm-hmm.
work from Northern California for a full on week if I wanted to. Or when she went to NYU, I'd work from New York and visit clients for a full week just to be with her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful journey there. What's sort of interesting to me is, as we are two women here on this discussion, I'm sure many women listening to this
Mhm.
podcast as well, is
Yeah.
whatever agency owner I've spoken to that's been a female, their tipping point, like 85% of the time, has been because of their children,
It's
their
yeah.
kids. It's
Yep.
like they'll go on maternity and they start their own thing, their own time,
Yep.
their own business, or like you just explained.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, shout out to her dad. I could not have done it without him also believing in me and not being like, "Nicole, are you crazy? You're going to risk it all. Like, what do you mean?" But he knew that if I took that leap of faith that I wasn't going to fail because I'm like, "Listen, if I fail, then her college, the money that I saved for her to go to college is gone." But he knew it's like
Yeah,
I
for
went to
sure.
Vegas. I went to Vegas and put it all on black. I bet on myself, and I knew that
Mm.
that was what I needed to do for her and for me. And it's really tough because maternally, so many of us women, I'm not speaking for every woman ever, but so many of us have that built-in maternal instinct. And at the same time, we live in a society that tells us go off, do your thing and whatever. And I feel very blessed to have been able to see through all of my dreams, all of my goals, while my daughter watched that happen and I brought her along with the journey to see it all. I went to UCLA, which was the school that I had dreamt of going to as a young child. I got my master's degree, my MBA from UCLA. What did that teach my daughter? It's not just about going to any college. It's where do you want to see yourself in the world and what school is hopefully going to set you up for that. I wanted her to watch all of that so that she lived with intention and not just, okay, go do this and just kind of live with whatever. You're going to see mom take risks. You're going to see mom, enjoy certain big things. You're going to see mom have to make sacrifices, but
Mm.
this is going to be what's going to set you up mentally for a journey in your own career that I don't want you to be afraid to take that leap of faith. And so now I tell people, I say NRPR is definitely something that I'm proud of, but the thing that I am most proud of building intentionally is my child.
Yeah.
I
Oh, that's so
built.
beautiful. Nicole, I have to say there's a lot of people also in the audience where they wish they had that support system. But really it's nice to hear where you are now and the good values you had behind getting to where you are. But what if you don't have that support system? Or I'm sure maybe there were like bad things also that happened, turbulence along the way.
Yeah.
What mindset do you need to have in order to overcome them?
Faith, complete faith in yourself and in the journey that you're on. The other thing too is, karma is a real thing. It is real. Business karma, money karma, relationship karma, all of those things. When you do good in the world and you truly believe and have faith that that good will and should come back to you, having that amount of faith that, like, I am going through a hard time or going through COVID as a business owner, going through our economic crisis as a business owner. Absolutely some of the worst times in my life.
Yeah, you talked about it a little bit before. I was going to
But
dive into it.
but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I've done way too much good in the world to fail. I've done way too much good in the world to whatever. And all it did was help redirect and strengthen and refine. So I didn't sit here, woe is me, what is wrong? Actually, I take that back. There were some days where I'm like, why?
Yeah, thank
Why
you.
this is terrible. What am I doing this all for? Why don't I just work at Starbucks and just chill and enjoy life? I've seen some very happy baristas. I think that's what I'm gonna go do now. And it was just more or less, I would pray, and I don't know, not everybody, believes in that. I have a good support system of strong women and even men who mentored me, helped guide me through certain things, helped me see things in another way. You just can't give up. That's really what it is. And here we are 12 years later. We have survived COVID. We've survived an economic crisis. And, at the same time, I feel ridiculously blessed that all of that also led me to this wonderful relationship that I'm in. And I feel fulfilled, not just as a professional, but as a person. I'm happy. I have a great partner. My daughter has graduated from college and is off on her own and doesn't rely on mom for everything because she is an adult in her own right. And so I look at all of the turbulence and the things that I have gone through, and I'm like, God made no mistakes in my entire journey. There's not one mistake. There's not one thing I could now look back on in my professional and personal journey and say, God, I wish that wouldn't have happened. Every potentially uncomfortable thing protected me from something else. And
Yeah,
every
that's
good
what I
thing
like to think
is
about as
just
well.
something that I was able to celebrate and set a good example for.
And any bad thing, if you think of it as a lesson and your skin gets
Protects you from
harder.
something in the future. I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
it
if
could.
that bad thing didn't happen, my God, I could have gone this whole other way.
And you
So
could have had a completely different life. So yeah, I strongly believe in that as well. I don't know about everyone else out there. I agree with everything you're saying there. It just makes sense.
yes, yes, totally.
You talked about some really incredible clients and partnerships that you have. I'm wondering, Nicole, how do you connect with potential clients like that and get more of the
Yeah.
same lovely clients you currently work with?
My current client base is probably the best referral system ever. From media or my clients, I obviously do our own PR, right? I do what I tell my clients we should be doing. Do PR.
Practice what you preach.
You should be sharing your story. You should be talking about milestones. You should be celebrating the wins, doing that publicly in a way that's also very just humble and honorable, right? Not like, yeah, we're the best PR firm you'll ever find. We're better than everybody. Like that's not right, right? Like I am very, very truly honored to be in this place. I'm thankful for my team. I'm thankful for my clients. That's how we get our business. I can't tell you how many. And now, actually, I take that back. There's some people who are like, hey, I plugged this into Chat GPT and you guys came up as one of the top firms in, Los Angeles or Beverly Hills or, in the world and blah, blah, blah. So somehow all the PR we've been doing for 12 years
It's
has
paid off.
already paid off. Where some people are just now trying to figure it out, we already have a repository of things that say NRPR is out there and great. And when ChatGPT and all of these things have, been introduced, here we are. And people are already finding us using it, which is really
That's
neat.
that's interesting when people are really trying to get their head in the game with this GEO they call it. And you already naturally did it from the great PR you've been doing over the 12 years.
Yep. Yeah.
So are
Yeah.
you trying to figure out moving on to AI naturally? Are you trying to get your head around this?
Naturally, just trying to keep what we're doing and do it right. Obviously, it's worked for us, so continuing to do PR. I think also working in different strategies that I do feel are going to pay off for companies, which is like being more in some of these forums like Reddit. Whereas,
Mm.
like, not a lot of companies would think about their Reddit strategy, and I'm telling people you need one. You definitely need one because this is also where, you know, GEO is pulling information from. You need to
I've
be
heard that
everywhere
before.
your data is being ingested so that you show up. So yeah, that's basically now, what we're doing and just continuing to do a good job because again, human to human, humans want to work with other good humans they can trust. And constantly being that source for our clients means that they're constantly going to be introducing us to others.
Mhm. Are there any strategies or any tips you can give for a business owner who's trying to get himself out there and maybe that those Reddit ideas? I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what Reddit is. I think it's an opinion site, isn't it? So how would a
Yeah.
business put themselves out there to begin with?
Yeah. Great question. And I would definitely say if you are a company that is new or young and your brand isn't already on Reddit, go in there and look at topics that, listen, if you have a mug company, let's just say, for example, you're a mug company, what do mugs do? Mugs keep your drinks warm for the most part, right? You want a mug because you want
Mine's
hot
cold, but
coffee,
yeah.
hot tea, as hot or whatever as you can, or maybe it's like comforting beverages. right? Things that are just like, oh, it's good for your soul after you've had a little sip or whatever. What is it that you want people to feel or know about your brand? Own that conversation. Hey, I'm Nicole, the CEO of Blue Mug Co. I want to start having discussions about your favorite warm drinks and recipes. Here's mine. I love a good pumpkin spice latte and I do this at home by myself. This is a DIY sharing thing. And yes, I might be the CEO, but I'm also a member of your community, right? Anybody who wants to talk about warm, comfy drinks, let's talk about it. So then you're not coming off as a creep who's trying to gather data. You're coming in as one of the community who, you know what, I also have opinions. What do you think about this? Ooh, does somebody else have an eggnog, like a warm eggnog recipe that they could share? And someone from somewhere else might find that in a hashtag search or whatever. But all of a sudden, you're building community based on conversation. And so that's where I tell people that you want to start. And then eventually, you're going to add people from your company. Hey, I'm a busy CEO. I can't always talk about this. I am going to jump in, but my right hand, let's say my assistant, Leah's going to come in and she's going to put together different ideas with you. Again, then you welcome someone else from your team and then you have those authentic conversations. You can't just jump in as a salesperson and like, hey, let's talk about security. Let's talk about AI. Let's talk. And then people are like, you're working at this company. That's right. So you really need to think about how can you come in authentically as a human who's just like one of the gang.
Yeah, and you are end of the day, and obviously you didn't just focus on the design of the mug. Like this one's got like a beautiful, way it looks, the outline or whatnot. You talk about the drinks, like the bigger purpose, not just like the mug, like what you
Yeah,
can use the
yeah,
mug for, different recipes for the drinks, and it can
totally. Or
escalate.
you know what? Hey, you could put some dirt in it and your favorite mugs can then become a vase. What
Yeah,
else are you doing with your mugs?
yeah.
What are you know what I mean? Like, are you filling them with gifts for Christmas and maybe wrapping them up and you're giving the gift of a mug to your children's teachers? What are you filling them with this season?
Yeah, sort of retracing back. I mean, you just discussed what we talk about
Utility.
on the Reddit.
Yeah.
How do you like start conversations on there? Because is it like a group-based scheme or is it the hashtag schemes that you usually
You're gonna
post?
wanna look at the hashtag schemes for sure. What are people looking for?
Yeah.
What are they talking about the most? And how does that tie back to your purpose or information that you are trying to just learn authentically from the real humans who are a lot of the times they're on there just kinda like spilling the beans, sharing their thoughts. Like I'm on Reddit. There's also like a dog mom group. Like, what do you do for your dogs? I threw a first birthday party for my dog. What are some of the things that you guys do? Oh, you make cupcakes. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make cupcakes for my dog and all of his little
Yeah.
friends.
Oh my gosh.
Mm,
Yeah, I need to utilize
So
this site for sure. It sounds
yeah,
wonderful. It's like you found your category of people and you're like, yeah, just
yeah,
run
just
from
dive
that.
in, and a lot of the times it's just humans that they want to share. And like, hey, I have some downtime. Let me jump on Reddit and talk about dog birthday parties. You
Yeah. Yeah.
like, because it's also very on Facebook, it's a lot of your friends and family.
Mm.
On Twitter, it's a lot of, I don't know, probably like journalists, media, information sharing. On Instagram, you're sharing pictures. Reddit is very like, I'm talking to a lot of strangers, but there's a mind share there. We are connected based on our interests and experience. So I can trust the other dog moms that are talking about birthday parties because they've been there, done that. I might not have ever met any of these people in real life, but I feel like there's a kinship here. We are
Yeah.
connected.
Oh wow. Yeah. No, that's
So
wonderful.
yeah.
See if there's any communities or hashtag groups that I can join in relating to my personal life and what I'm interested
Yeah,
in. Which I'm an
absolutely.
absolute health freak, so that's probably going to be one of the topics.
There you go.
Nicole, one thing we speak with agency owners is obviously that lead generation tactic. I mean, you say referrals work beautifully for you, and I'm glad they do because some businesses don't even have that, right? And that's such a strong foundation. What happens when you want to scale past referrals? Because you mentioned you want to stay authentic, you want to stay true to your values. So bombarding yourself out there with cold outreach, spammy messaging is not who you are.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
how would anyone who's in a similar position as you are overcome that or maybe find a strategy that works for them?
I would say start with PR. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest, because PR is a really great way for people to learn about you, your business, and products authentically. It will help them learn about your core values and the utility of whatever service or product that you bring in. That's also going to help with your GEO, right?
Hmm.
It's going to help with your SEO. It's going to do all of those things naturally. The other thing too is making sure that your website, now again with SEO and GEO being such a huge focus, get a digital marketer, someone who really understands how algorithms work to build out the content on your website. Owned media is very important. Do you have blog posts on your website that point to the what's it called, the solutions that your company brings about? Really, really building out that content on your website is going to help you get found when people are
Hmm.
just searching for information and trying to find the right, you know companies and products. The other thing too is if you have a physical location, be on Yelp, be on Google, be in some of the places where people can find you, and this is free. Also, Instagram free, Facebook free, TikTok free. These are all places where you can just exist, put up content here and there, and obviously you're going to need somebody who's going to manage those things, but to just have a presence is free. So think about all of those ways where your company can exist that's not going to cost you any money, and it will lend itself to the different audiences that make sense to find you.
I really want to dive into so much with you, Nicole, and you already given us so much golden nuggets of wisdom. You said marketing and PR need to be interwoven, and that's
Yeah,
something you feel very passionate about. There's a lot
absolutely.
of agencies out there that isolate the two. Now, I want to know your opinion as to why they need to be connected. It's sort of the same like I hear marketing and sales need to be connected too, to an
Yeah.
extent. But
Yes.
tell me your opinion.
I believe that marketing is the bridge between PR and sales. I think that all of it, if you have just PR, no marketing, and then you have sales, there's a gap, because at the end of the day, PR is a function of a bigger marketing umbrella. Oftentimes, PR falls under the CMO if there isn't a CCO. But imagine you work at a company where there's a chief communications officer and a chief marketing officer, and they're not talking to each other. Somehow sales have to get done. Sales is like, I need tools to go out there and make us look good. So then what happens? PR is in charge of awards, thought leadership, general media relations, owned, and even internal communications, right? And internal communications is a big thing, because what if you have a bunch of people on Twitter talking mess about your company and how terrible it is to work there? No, PR manages all of that. Marketing should be looking big picture wise. What new products do we have? What launches should we be doing? What campaigns? And they should be overseeing the website, social media. Now imagine your CCO and your CMO are not talking to each other, and you have a product launch. You go and you launch that product just with marketing, right? Just on social media and on your website, and no media knows about it. You are missing a
Mm,
complete opportunity for third-party validation for sales to be able to point back and say, this Wall Street Journal reporter
wow.
just said that what we just launched is the bee's knees. It's everything. If PR and marketing are not talking to each other, you are missing out on an opportunity, and sales suffer.
Wow. Wow. That's so interesting.
Any PR person that doesn't understand that doesn't understand what we do in its completeness. For the sake of a business, that's like owning a business and not having a finance team who's going to manage the money, and then a legal team that makes sure that the contracts are all. If you don't have legal and finance working together on contracts and deals, it's the same thing as PR and marketing not working together. We need each other in order for the most value to impact the business. We are working for businesses.
Hmm. Mhm.
Even thought leaders, if you're a thought
Yeah.
leader and you're not on social media, but you're just getting a lot of thought leaders want to have stage presence. They want to go and speak. Why? They need a website, they need social media, and they need PR. That's marketing and PR working together. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is scary. If a PR person and a marketing person don't know that, you're missing out on opportunities and sales.
Yeah. You mentioned thought leadership a lot there. What are some quick, sort of maybe 5 tips how business owners can quickly gain thought leadership? What should they go out and do?
Yeah. They should be on podcasts, right? So they should be doing PR for themselves, right? Interviewing with other media. Also, like I said, owned media, putting your thoughts, dumping them into blog posts, a book, something that you own that it's regurgitating, it's taking out all of this great information. If you're a thought leader, why? Because you have knowledge inherently that other people don't have that you should be sharing. That's what makes you a thought leader. Not just because you're like, I have some really good ideas. No, are they proven? Do they
Mm.
work? And if so, are you sharing? That is thought leadership, right? So interviewing, the other thing is just making sure that you have your ideas dumped into your own blogs, other, byline opportunities where you could write an article for an outlet under your byline so that again people can trust you as a source. The other thing is, are you out there speaking, depending on your audience, at schools or on stages? Are you sharing that information um, on panels? Are people inviting you to be on panels?
Mm.
If you're not, you're technically not a thought leader, right? Like if people aren't inviting you to come and share your thoughts amongst other peers, are you really a thought leader? Right?
Mhm.
Then the other thing too is just social media wise, LinkedIn, you need to have a presence and you need to be constantly sharing and commenting, being part of community, being part of what other people are saying, adding your 2 bits. Hey, I have experience here. Here's what I think. It's not being combative, it's being part of community. That's inherently what you're
You know
supposed
what?
to be.
I love a good discussion. I don't call it an argument. It's a discussion. My opinion's this because of X, Y, and Z. Your opinion's that because of the environment you've had or the experiences you've had. It's healthy to have a
Yeah.
great discussion.
Yeah. And I think the other thing as a thought leader is that you're constantly learning. Leaders are readers, right? If you are not learning, you are plateauing in a certain way. So for me as a thought leader, I know I have a responsibility to my team, my clients, and other people who are out there who follow me. I went and I got my MBA. I went and now I'm learning AI tools. Why? Because I want to be the one programming them, not relying on them to do my job. I want to be the one in charge of putting that information out and getting what I can get out of it. And then making sure I'm guiding my team on best practices rather than just saying, hey, this. You can tell when ChatGPT writes something for someone else and you're like, this is not good. Hey, ChatGPT, write a press release. 90% of them are garbage. Why? Because ChatGPT wasn't designed with my brain. It
Hmm.
doesn't know the 26 years of stuff that I've gone through. So I know what a good press release should look like. I
Mm.
know how to say, give me this based on this. Okay, great. And then I'll take that as a tee up and then I will smooth it out, write it myself, and it'll come out that much better and crisper. I have clients that I could send them a press release. You know what? I put this together. They'll look at it in one snap and be like, that's approved. It's perfect. If I told them, hey, have ChatGPT write your press release, they'd be like, this is trash. Nicole, please write it. So for me, it's understanding that, AI isn't going anywhere, but it's not fully as smart as me and my team are yet. So
Yes,
how do
you
I
said
make sure
yes.
right? Yeah, but that's why it's like, how do I continue to up level my education so
Mm-hmm.
I am constantly staying ahead of the bar?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you there. There's actually this incredible post I've just seen about AI, and if anything, it's a little bit scary. I'm going to note it down below as well for anyone who's interested. But it was sort of like how good AI has become in a matter of years, and obviously in certain other things, not copywriting or having that human connection because it doesn't. But at the rate of acceleration, you wonder where is it going to end up?
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I am going to be fighting for my job and my career for as long as I'm here and not retired. I'm not going to just let it go.
No.
Right. And if some people are entering the job market now in their 20s and already letting it go,
Mm.
where's your fight?
Mm-hmm.
By your face, good luck.
Mm.
Right. And so you want people to be armed with that amount of knowledge that you need to go out there and be you have to be more human than you've ever humaned before. That is really what's going to set you apart. It's being human. And again, being a thought leader, you need to be ahead of your thoughts, which means you need to be ahead of your education and learning.
Nicole, talking about your agency, what are your goals this year? What do you want to achieve?
Yeah, we are really trying to focus on bringing on more fun events to do PR for. LA Comic Con is beautiful. We just love it. Again, it's human connection. We want to be out in front of people. And I absolutely love that. Obviously, too, just keeping our clients really happy and at the forefront of their businesses. But I would say if we were looking for other clients, like more clients, it would be probably in the event space where brick centric. It's perfect. Maybe is there like an anime or some sort of trade show where we could do the PR for that trade show. That obviously isn't competitive with LA Comic Con because that's our heart. Those are
Yes.
our
Yeah,
people. So
yeah.
people
You
are like,
can't
oh,
let
would you
down a
ever do
loyal
PR?
customer like that, can you?
Yeah, yeah. Would you ever do PR for San Diego Comic Con? Nope. Not as long as LA Comic Con is my client. Absolutely not. I am very happy with them. We have a great family. So yeah, just finding more clients that are on our wavelength and non-competitive with our existing clients because we love them so much.
Yeah, and aligning with your values, which is so, so, so important to you. And if you had a magic wand to fix one thing in a business in order to get to that goal you just mentioned that much quicker, what would it be?
Spamming would not be allowed in PR.
Oh, like that's a rule. Yes,
That
spamming
should be a
isn't allowed.
hard, fast rule. It's not allowed.
Hmm.
That would absolutely make journalists' lives easier. They'd get less spam. You would have to target more authentically, and they probably wouldn't dislike PR people as much as some of them do. That would be my
Unfortunately,
magic wand.
unfortunately, that's not the world we're in. So we need to adjust to the times and just be
Right.
authentic, like you said, and
That's right.
stand out in your
Yeah.
own way. Nicole,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing your amazing value on this podcast. I
Yeah.
really do appreciate it. If people wanted to connect with you and find out more about your services, where should they look?
www.nrprgroup.com, or they can find us at NRPR Group across all social media, or info@nrprgroup.com.
Awesome. We'll make sure all the links are dropped below. If anyone enjoyed what Nicole was saying, please let me know your favorite takeaway down below in the comments.